Ever wondered why we behave the way we do, and if it's possible to alter these patterns? Welcome to the Psychology and Physical Training channel. Introduction to the world of behavioral therapy, a fascinating branch of psychology that studies just that, our behavior. This approach takes a practical and action-oriented stance, focusing on what is observable and measurable. It raises intriguing questions like, can we modify our actions? And if so, how? Why is this important, you might ask? Well, understanding our behavior and how to change it can help us overcome challenges in our lives, from battling anxiety to breaking bad habits. It is a cornerstone of modern psychology, offering insights into human nature and providing tools for personal growth. But how did it all begin? What are its key principles and techniques? And most importantly, how can it be applied in our everyday life? Stay tuned as we explore these questions and more. Join us as we delve into the fascinating history of behavioral therapy. The birth of behavioral therapy. The roots of behavioral therapy take us back to the early 20th century. It was a time of significant scientific curiosity and discovery, which made its way into the realm of psychology. The shift from the introspective and subjective nature of psychoanalysis towards a more scientific and objective approach was a major turning point in the field. The story begins with Ivan Pavlov, a Russian physiologist who stumbled upon a phenomenon he called classical conditioning. Pavlov observed that dogs began to salivate not only when presented with food, but also with stimuli associated with food, like the sound of a bell. This observation led Pavlov to conclude that behaviors could be learned through association. This was a breakthrough idea, suggesting that not all behavior was instinctual, but rather could be conditioned or learned. Fast forward a few years, and we meet B.F. Skinner, an American psychologist who took Pavlov's work a step further. Skinner believed that behavior was not just a response to stimuli, but could also be shaped by its consequences. He introduced the concept of operant conditioning, a learning process where behavior is strengthened or weakened by reinforcement or punishment. Skinner's work provided a more comprehensive understanding of behavior, accounting for both the stimuli that trigger behavior and the consequences that follow it. These early developments heralded a significant shift in the psychological landscape. Instead of focusing on the unconscious mind and past experiences as psychoanalysis did, these new behavioral approaches emphasized observable behavior and the present moment. They brought in a more scientific approach to understanding and changing behavior, relying on empirical evidence and rigorous experimentation. The impact of these foundational theories was profound, influencing not only psychology but also education, healthcare, and social policy. They paved the way for more nuanced and complex theories of behavior, and eventually led to the development of more specialized therapies, such as cognitive behavioral therapy. These pioneering studies laid the groundwork for what we now know as behavioral therapy. And as we'll see in the next scene, the evolution of behavioral therapy didn't stop with Pavlov and Skinner. It continued to grow and adapt, becoming an integral part of modern psychology. The evolution of behavioral therapy. The mid-20th century saw a significant evolution in the field of behavioral therapy. Enter Albert Bandura, a name that became synonymous with the evolution of this therapy. A pioneering psychologist, Bandura catapulted behavioral therapy into a new era with his social learning theory, which emphasized the role of observational learning in behavior change. According to Bandura, we aren't simply passive recipients of learning through conditioning, as was previously thought. Instead, we actively observe and model the behaviors of others, absorbing not only their actions, but also the consequences of those actions. This concept, known as vicarious learning, was a game changer. It suggested that our behaviors are shaped not just by our personal experiences, but also by the actions we observe in those around us. Bandura's theory was a significant departure from traditional behaviorism, which focused solely on observable behaviors. His work introduced the idea that our mental processes are also crucial in determining our behaviors. In essence, Bandura was suggesting that our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes, things that we cannot physically see, play a crucial role in how we behave. This shift in thinking paved the way for a significant development in behavioral therapy, the emergence of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. This approach combined the principles of behavioral therapy with cognitive theory. CBT acknowledges that our thoughts and feelings can influence our behaviors. Therefore, it aims to change negative thought patterns and irrational beliefs to improve emotional responses and thus behavior. CBT's development marked a profound shift, bridging the gap between the internal and external factors influencing behavior. It acknowledged the role of the mind in shaping our actions, integrating the cognitive with the behavioral. This holistic approach has been monumental in the field, providing a more comprehensive understanding of human behavior. In essence, the evolution of behavioral therapy hasn't been a linear process. It's been a journey of exploration and discovery, driven by innovative thinkers like Bandura, who were not afraid to challenge established norms. These advancements have made behavioral therapy a diverse and dynamic field. Key principles and techniques of behavioral therapy. Now that we've explored the roots and evolution of behavioral therapy, what are its key principles and techniques? Let's start with the core principles of behavioral therapy. First and foremost, behavioral therapy focuses on current behavior. Unlike some other therapeutic approaches, it doesn't delve into the past or speculate about the unconscious. Instead, it hones in on what's happening right now and how that's affecting an individual's life. The second key principle is the role of learning. Behavioral therapy posits that our actions and reactions aren't set in stone. Rather, they're learned responses to certain situations. This means they can be unlearned and replaced with healthier behaviors. The third principle is the use of empirically based techniques. In other words, the methods used in behavioral therapy are grounded in scientific research. They've been tested and found to be effective in changing behavior. Now let's move on to some of the common techniques used in behavioral therapy. One of the most widely used techniques is exposure therapy. This involves gradually and repeatedly exposing a person to the thing they fear or avoid in a safe and controlled environment. The goal is to reduce fear and avoidance through familiarity. Next, we have desensitization. This technique goes hand in hand with exposure therapy. It involves teaching relaxation skills to use while confronting a fear. Over time, the fear response lessens and the individual becomes desensitized to the feared situation or object. Finally, there's reinforcement. This technique uses rewards to encourage positive behavior and punishments to discourage negative behavior. The idea is to shift the balance so that positive behaviors become more common than negative ones. So, to recap, the key principles of behavioral therapy are focusing on current behavior, acknowledging the role of learning, and employing empirically based techniques. The common techniques include exposure therapy, desensitization, and reinforcement. These principles and techniques form the backbone of behavioral therapy. Goals and applications of behavioral therapy. So, what can behavioral therapy help achieve, and where do we see its applications today? Behavioral therapy is a broad umbrella under which various strategies and techniques are used to address a myriad of issues. The primary goal of behavioral therapy is the reduction or elimination of maladaptive behaviors. These behaviors can range from nail-biting and thumb-sucking to more severe issues like self-harm or substance abuse. By using techniques like positive and negative reinforcement, therapists can help clients replace these damaging behaviors with healthier alternatives. But behavioral therapy goes beyond just reducing harmful behaviors. It also aims to promote positive behavior change. This could mean teaching new skills, such as social skills or coping mechanisms, to help individuals navigate their daily lives more effectively. It could also mean fostering a sense of self-control and personal responsibility, empowering individuals to take charge of their actions and their lives. Now let's talk about where we see the applications of behavioral therapy today. One of the most common uses is in treating mental health disorders. From anxiety and phobias to obsessive-compulsive disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, behavioral therapy has proven to be an effective treatment method. It's also used in managing stress, overcoming trauma, and dealing with grief. In the realm of physical health, behavioral therapy is used to help individuals manage chronic pain, improve sleep, and even promote healthier eating and exercise habits. Additionally, it's widely used in educational settings to help children and adolescents with behavioral issues perform better academically and socially. Perhaps one of the most promising applications of behavioral therapy is in the field of addiction. By helping individuals understand the triggers and consequences of their addictive behaviors, therapists can guide them towards healthier coping mechanisms and a more positive life trajectory. From classrooms to clinics, behavioral therapy continues to transform lives. It's a powerful tool that, when wielded correctly, can bring about significant positive change in an individual's life. It's not just about changing behavior, it's about changing lives for the better. Recap and conclusion. We've journeyed through the history, principles, and applications of behavioral therapy today. We began with the birth of this approach, rooted in the early 20th century, a time when psychologists started to focus on observable behavior. We've seen how this therapy evolved over the years, adapting and growing to incorporate new findings and techniques. We delved into the key principles of behavioral therapy, understanding how it's all about learning new behaviors and unlearning harmful ones. The techniques used, like conditioning and reinforcement, were highlighted, showing how they aid in this process of behavior change. We then explored the goals and applications of behavioral therapy. From treating mental health disorders to helping individuals develop better habits, we've seen the wide-ranging impact of this approach. Understanding behavioral therapy not only helps us comprehend our actions, but also offers avenues for positive behavior change. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating world of psychology. And if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe and follow the Psychology and Physical Training channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.